What is traditional healthcare getting wrong about prevention?
They're billed based on how many people they see. So if they're going to spend 30 minutes talking about someone's lifestyle when they could see 5 more patients,
right?
It makes more sense to them.
How do you reconcile being traditionally trained and educated as a medical doctor and now you just disagree with the system? Welcome back to another episode of the Creator Method Podcast. I am going to jump straight into the bio today, the introduction. So today's guest is Dr. Rosi, a family physician, mother of 3 boys, and founder of the Mindful Movement app. After nearly a decade practicing family medicine, she made a bold decision to leave clinical practice and build something she felt was missing in healthcare, real prevention. I'm excited about that part. I really want to dive into it. With a background in physical therapy, pre- and postnatal coaching, and lifestyle medicine, she has built an online wellness brand serving over 110,000 women across Instagram and Facebook. Her work focuses on pregnancy, postpartum, and sustainable strength training for women who want results without extremes. And I can attest to that because I've seen your content with your strength training and you're embarrassing a lot of the guys that I know in the gym.
Yeah.
It's true. She combines evidence-based fitness, simple nutrition, and habit psychology to help busy mothers build strength, lose fat, and feel energized without starting another diet. Today, we're going to unpack her transition from physician to founder, how she built her audience, where she is now in her creator journey, and then we'll do a live mini consult, if you will allow me the opportunity.
Love it.
Dr. Rosi, welcome to the Creator Method Podcast. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for traveling all the way from Montreal to Miami. You know, I always find it fascinating to touch base and to reconnect with fellow Canadians. You know, since we moved almost 5 years ago. How are things in Canada?
Good. They're good. They're cold. They're interesting. I'm making the most of it. That's for sure.
Well, you know what? It's tough. I think one of the biggest things that Valeria had a challenge with was during the long winters, how to stay motivated, how to stay creative. But you do that well. I mean, you're super consistent with your content.
I do the best with what I have. Like you say, like you come here in Miami and you're automatically inspired. You automatically have the environment that's ready to like film and make it easy. Yeah. Light is like limited hours, the light in my kitchen specifically, but you make the most of it.
You make the best of it. Well, listen, most of the world is living in the winter now anyway. So this is, we're here in the exception, not the rule. I want to talk about, kind of your shift from your clinical practice to what you're doing now. So you went from being like a traditional doctor, if you will, you were a family doctor.
Yeah.
And was it your own practice or you were in?
I worked in a clinic with a group of doctors.
Okay.
That's kind of how it goes in Quebec for the majority of people since 2018. That's when I finished my residency at McGill University. I did 2 years of family medicine after medical school. That's what I was doing.
You transitioned from that, obviously, to being a content creator and having your own practice right now. What did you feel it wasn't working in the system and like in the system at that time for medicine?
So the issue and one of the factors that kind of instigated this founder move of mine is that when I decided to shift my practice into a private practice, which is kind of frowned upon in Quebec and kind of very limited in Quebec, it wasn't accepted. So it was at the end of my most recent 3rd mat leave with my baby when I realized, and I could talk later about kind of like how content creation kind of changed even my approach to healthcare.
Yeah.
But when I made that application, I guess, to work into private, it was not accepted because they had just passed a law that doctors can't easily go into private practice. So I had already closed my practice. They're like, no, you can't do private.
Who's they? I apologize.
The government. So the government is in charge of healthcare in Quebec. And the government decides who works in private, who works in public, what area, what region you can work in. So you asked me, how did I decide to go from there to founder? Basically, when I wasn't allowed to switch my practice in the way I wanted to, which was a women's health-focused private care practice, I pivoted into deciding to do something online way bigger than just content creating, but literally building my platform.
I'm just curious, and I don't want to get into a political discussion per se, but what would be the reason for not letting a doctor get into? Yeah, I see you're like with your.
We all have our questions, right?
Well, no, but I'm just curious. It makes a lot of sense that you want to switch to. And so, what was the switch that you were trying to make?
Private care with a focus on women's health. So perimenopause, menopause, weight loss.
I mean, that seems very simple and straightforward.
Simple, needed, asked of me many times. But the government wants people to stay in the public sector because they think it'll limit access to care if people go private doctors.
Right. So
that's their argument.
Right.
But there's a want and a need in both areas.
But it sounds like it's a question of billing. It's a question of like you would, when you say private sector, it wouldn't be covered by in
RAMQ,
Ontario.
exactly.
It's OHIP, but yeah,
exactly. It wouldn't be covered. It'd be paid out of pocket. Exactly. So that was refuted, and then it really was a trajectory into me building my online platform the way I've decided to do it now.
But then you did get into a private practice.
They refused it. They said
no. But you currently you don't have a practice. You don't have a medical practice, but you were a medical doctor.
Correct. No, I've kept my license. I'm still a medical doctor. Nothing's changed in that regard. But rather than going to the public and going back to work in the safe public practice that I was doing, which I could have done that, I said, this is happening to me for a reason. This is literally opening my eyes and my desires to something else that I've been kind of working towards for a while. I've been building my audience. I think we're going backwards in the storyline, but
that's okay. No, that's all good.
But I had been building an online platform. I had been sharing my health and wellness, evidence-based advice for years already. That I said, okay, this is the pivotal moment. Like I'm meant to do something different, something bigger, something more long-term and sustainable that involves an online.
I want to get more into your career, and I want to get more into the shift from being a traditional doctor, what you're doing now. I like, to me, it's super fascinating that someone who is like a doctor, like an actual medical doctor in the medical profession, decided I am going to be essentially you're not a content creator per se. You're definitely not like an influencer,
right?
But you're very, no, of course not. But you're like very much a knowledge-based creator with a massive, value proposition. But I want to go back and I want to talk about the subject matter a little bit more. So can you maybe give me some commentary or give me your opinion on like what is traditional healthcare getting wrong about prevention? Because my understanding is in what you do, prevention is a key part of it. Which I'm a big fan of. Like I function very much in a prevention because I'm
speaks to that.
Thank you. I mean, I'm looking at what my life will look like and what my physical capabilities and health will look like 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. And I'm kind of mapping to that in the way I try to govern myself. But what is traditional? I mean, I have some opinions as a non-doctor, but I really want to know what's your position on like what is traditional healthcare getting wrong about prevention?
So I was working, and so often I would have patients come in either at the about to burn out. I've been sort of depressed for a while. This back pain has been lingering for years, not getting to the bottom of it. I'm now pre-diabetic and I'm only mid-30s. And honestly, my life has just been eating A, B, and C, right? Sodas and processed sugars and things that whether it's cultural, whether it's the way they were raised, whether it's, socioeconomic, that's all they could afford. But whatever it is, led them to I would say mid-30s, these common things I would see. Like I said, pre-diabetes was a very common one, whether it was pregnancy or postpartum related, a lot of women with this. Slightly low to high cholesterol, just starting.
I mean, you're talking about exclusively about women.
This would happen in men and women.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm telling you what I would see in general. And I was like, okay, we're always backpedaling. Okay, now this is what you have to change and try to see a nutritionist. And a lot of people cannot access one. And I was focused so hard on these lifestyle measures. So I would ask a patient, what do you eat in a day? And this is things that traditional doctors don't normally do. They say, here's a prescription for your statin.
Why don't traditional doctors do this?
They don't have time. They're billed based on how many people they see. So if they're going to spend 30 minutes talking about someone's lifestyle when they could see 5 more patients,
right?
It makes more sense to them. But I'm so passionate about changing your lifestyle because that's what's going to change you in 10, 15, 20 years down the line, that I would spend my time investing in talking about their lifestyle. What factors are stressing them? Not just put a label on depression and move on, but what has led you to here when they're like, my work stresses me. Is it interrelational? Is it that you can't handle stress? Is it that you don't know how to manage things? Is it that you need tools? And I would really focus a lot on that before, if and whenever, obviously prescribing what they needed. I didn't neglect the treatment part, but I really focused on the lifestyle part. So medicine doesn't do that great. We do some screening, right? Pap test screening, colon cancer screening. There's things that we need to do as family doctors, but it's the very minimum, I would say.
It sounds like traditional medicine, and I'm going to give a very simple kind of analogy. It's like closing the barn door after the horse has escaped, right?
Exactly.
That's what it sounds like. It's it's like you're already correcting the problem. You're trying to treat the problem.
You're always chasing after, right? Yeah. And that's a Hippocratic oath, or whatever the statement goes, is an ounce of prevention is a pound of cure. So if I can prevent 5 ladies from developing prediabetes by mid-30s, early 40s, she's going to live an exponentially better life. Or if I can have her build strength by the time she is in her mid-50s, she may not develop osteoporosis and be the 1 in 2 women with that diagnosis more at risk of fractures, which puts her more at risk at, so all these down the line.
You really went against the system. I mean, for you to do what you did, I mean, it's not only about the economics or the financial component of being a doctor in Canada per se, but it's also it just sounds like you just essentially disagree with the way that they're treating
the approach of healthcare, of Western medicine, if you will. And So yeah.
How do you
focus on
reconcile that?
lifestyle.
That's like, how do you reconcile that? And I don't know if you knew that we'd be talking about kind of stuff like this, because I like to jump into your expertise and get your opinions. But like, how do you reconcile being like educated in a very formal way? I have a lot of respect for medical doctors, because the amount of education and training, like, to me, you guys are rock stars. You're literally celebrities in my eyes. No, I'm serious.
All my 20s were studying in a book.
I can imagine. I'm always humbled. I remember the first time I became friends with a buddy of mine who's a dentist, and to me, he was just like, I was blown away. I was so impressed, and I'm always impressed with doctors. But I mean, how do you reconcile being traditionally trained and educated as a medical doctor? Like, you went to school for probably a decade or more to do this, and then you're in a system that you were kind of created by this system, like you were educated by the system, and now you just disagree with the system. And then the fact, and sorry to be so long-winded, but then you went from being kind of a product of the system, being educated and trained by the system, to being in it, disagreeing with it, and going a completely alternative route, leveraging this global technology that gives you it's incredible. How do you reconcile between your training and what's going on now?
Unique approach and experience compared to just about every other doctor who would never in their life show their face online. 99% of my colleagues are like, oh my God, I'm so shy. I'm supposed to be in an office seeing someone one-on-one. I'm not that person. I'm quite extroverted. And I loved sharing knowledge to the public. So the day I graduated, the day I was still in residency before having my license, I was sharing videos online. I was talking about anxiety and STDs, things that were really much more medical than the preventative lifestyle I'm talking about now, but I was doing it.
Yeah.
And so automatically I was reaching thousands of mostly women, but people online. I was like, this is crazy. These aren't just people in my office that I'm seeing from the neighborhood, but these are people across the world that I'm able to reach. So from an early point in my career, I was already doing things differently. I will say that. And I had a lot of pushback. Like, there were a lot of colleagues who were like, what are you doing? Like, this is not the way to do it. Like, you need to just stick to your office and do what we're supposed to do. And so I was already kind of like going against the grain, I would say, for a few years. And then I saw the potential, like, as you obviously see just in the creator space, but like, this can actually affect, like, help thousands more. Like, you multiply the number of people you can help. The impact is exponential.
It's the magnification, basically, of your value proposition.
Original essence of why I chose medicine. How many people can I help? Well, what if I can multiply that by bajillion, and it's in a preventative approach, not just by sticking a label and a diagnostic. So my experience with that was huge. And then I started to like play with business. Like, can I monetize? Like, I knew that the creator space was a potential for that. I didn't know how in healthcare.
You know what I love? I love the fact that you very early in your career figured out something that took me like decades, and that is leading with impact. So all of my businesses up until like recently, I was leading with like the financial side, like monetization,
money, for sure.
What's going to make the most money in the shortest amount of time. And then I started leading by impact, like just operating out of impact. But you flipped into that.
My career was about how many people can I help. Yeah. It was literally, I'm an empath, right? So I care to help people, right? But not at my own detriment. At one point, I had to find a balance between how much can I give and how much can I receive, right?
Sure.
And when I saw it was kind of a two-way stream with online, because I would give and I'd get so much feedback, like, you've changed my life. I lost 15 pounds. I'm so much stronger for my kids. I'm a grandmother and I was able to do ABC. You get those like testimonials, which I get in my DMs every day. And I was floored. I was like, I don't even get this impact. And of course, like in a self-fulfilling way, seeing a patient in office, because you see them 3 months later, they may or maybe didn't change the lifestyle. They may or maybe didn't change their medicine. Their blood test maybe or maybe didn't change. But when I'm sharing this online and they're hearing me and they're like, okay, I trust her. She's a doctor. I'm implementing it. And they're coming back to me with feedback. I was like, okay, I got to give more. You
are such a practitioner, because not only, clearly you have the credentials of being a doctor. Clearly you can speak in, let's say, a traditional like talking head fashion where you're like, and you do that. But the fact that you're actually in gym clothes and you're actually working out and you're actually fit. I mean, oddly enough, it's actually like less common than you think, right? You have doctors talking about, you even have, and I believe in your bio, it says you're a personal trainer as well. So you're right. So you're many things, and everything, comes back to health, specifically women's health. But you would be surprised. I mean, I don't have to tell you how many doctors are preaching a certain lifestyle and they don't.
It's like embarrassed. I'm like, how can you tell someone do A, B, and C? You need to exercise 150 minutes a week. That's like the general advice. 150 minutes of moderate to high intensity exercise per week, when clearly you aren't taking your own advice. You need to eat 3 meals a day with X protein in your meal and this much fiber because colon cancer prevention risk, and you clearly skipped 2 meals as I saw you today and instead ate cookies. It's almost, it cringes the word, but it makes me uncomfortable.
No, but you're right.
I could never not practice what I'm preaching.
You're right. It's interesting because in social media, everyone's an expert.
Of course.
But in your field,
I'm
like
literally
the receipts are,
but
the receipts are very, they're very visible, right? Like, you know, I can make a claim that I'm a content creator coach, and I can show you my credentials because of what, you know, we built together with my wife and now working. But for you, it's just so direct. I mean, you are somebody who is coaching people and teaching people how to be healthy, specifically women. So you have to embody that. So yeah, I mean, good for you. But I want to talk about a little bit about like lifestyle medicine. Take me through what this means. I think we kind of touched upon it, but I'd like to get your take on it.
I'm pretty sure you practice quite a bit of it. I know last time we spoke, actually, we were talking about your sleep health.
Yeah.
At the last
Thank you. I'm so flattered that you remember.
Yeah,
you talk to so many people.
Because sleep is literally the pillar of overall health. So basically, what is lifestyle medicine? It is approaching health with a much more holistic approach. Not here's a diagnosis, here's your pill. It's how is your sleep? How is your stress level? What are you eating? And how active are you?
Yeah.
And then there's like the psychosocial. So like, are you well surrounded? How's your mental health?
Yeah.
Do you have good relationships? Okay. But if we're talking about the things that you can control as an individual for lifestyle health, it's that. It's your sleep, it's your stress, it's your food, and it's your physical activity. So I find a way that's fun, that's interactive, that's approachable, that's relatable as a mom to 3 young kids who has the same crazy busy schedule as most moms to young kids, to prioritize those things. I say go to sleep early. I'm literally in bed most nights. Now, because of this whole busyness of building my app, I've been, extending that. But most of the time by 10 p.m., I'm out. And I prioritize that sleep because of how foundational it is to your overall metabolic health, cellular health. Like there's no question, mental health. So if you kind of focus on those pillars, like I just mentioned, stress, sleep, food, exercise, you live a good life.
Absolutely.
Like you know it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean everything's a balance all of the time. And I tell people who have them all over the place, choose one, focus, perfect it, and then add. Because some people are just like terrible at scrolling till midnight, and until they fix that habit, you're not gonna prioritize your nutrition and your sleep and your relationship with your husband all at once. It's just not gonna happen, right? It's like when people wanna lose weight and they wanna rip every Band-Aid, I'm gonna restrict this and cut that and stop it's not gonna happen.
Right.
One thing at a time. So that's kind of like the approach is, do what you can, but start with something. And
I'm in full agreement with you. I remember
I started with sleep as the example because it related to you, but I could talk about a balanced plate. I could talk about anything, and I'm like,
there's so much. I mean, I think like for me, I was up until I was kind of happy about the fact that I've gotten my exercise really consistent.
Fantastic.
I'm now getting my my sleep a lot better. I don't drink alcohol.
Huge.
It's huge, but then the problem is, like there was a Lil Wayne said in one of his songs, he says like the top gets higher the more that you climb.
Yes.
And so,
Where's the end?
Where's the end? And the thing is like I figured out the exercise part. I'm now actively working on my sleep. I've kind of regressed lately with this like midnight scrolling, which is terrible.
Yeah.
But at least I have the yellow filter on my phone, and
That's
I find
good.
that helps a little bit. But then it's like, I don't drink alcohol, but I probably eat too many cookies. I probably do this. I probably do that. So I mean, it's difficult. Like, how do you? I don't know. Like, what do you say? What do you tell someone like me who has this like goal for their health? And I've maybe conquered a few things. I don't do anything really that bad, but there's a big delta between where I am now and where I'd want to be by fixing my diet in a much better way, by really dialing in my sleep. Like, what do you say to someone who's already accomplished something, is kind of down the path? Like, how do I do it?
On the one, you've built evidence and proof that you could do great things, that you are able to be in control of major aspects of your health. So kudos. Like you need to build evidence, right?
Sure.
So that's how we know we could do harder things, is we built some, right? I know I could grow to 100 people on Instagram because I built to 80. Like, you need the evidence. So that's one. So like work through that in your own mind. You're capable. Number 2, and this is more like a selling it to you. What does Gary want in 10 years and 15 years from now in his life? What does he want it to look like? How does he want to feel in his body? And what does he want to be able to provide to his family, not just a financial way, but in his whole overall well-being? What do you want that to look like? I'm asking you the question.
Oh, you're asking me the question. I mean, like for me, it's a number of different things. I mean, for me, I don't want my children to see me sick, because I had the misfortune of, and not that I'm throwing a pity party for myself, but I had the misfortune of seeing my mother really deteriorate because she never took care of it. Because in her culture at that time, in the Soviet Union,
survival mode.
Well, it was survival mode, but like nobody went to the gym. It was a ridiculous notion. Like only like if you're training for the Olympics, you go to the gym. Otherwise, nobody goes to the gym.
Right.
People didn't care about diet. It's like they ate beets, they ate potatoes. If they got chocolate, they throw a party. They eat whatever was in front of them, right? So they never did that. So for me, one of the biggest things is I don't want to see my children. I don't want my children to go through what I went through, of like the pain of seeing a parent deteriorate. And my dad wasn't much better,
Okay.
So that to me is probably like number one. And for me, I mean, you're asking me, so like we're getting into it, but like for me, my mental acuity is really important. Like sometimes I get scared and I don't remember things, but then I go and I sleep and the next day I'm okay. Good. So I was scared for a little bit that
which is
maybe,
huge, by the way. Your memory is affected by your sleep. Alcohol affects your sleep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So to me, I want to be, I don't want them to see me sick. I want to be physically capable. I want to be, mentally, intact and sharp. And I just like the most important thing is I feel like as a man with 3 boys, I really want to set a good example for my kids.
100%.
And I want them to see what it means to work out. Like they see me going to the gym. I even have Ben
go with you.
Ben, he comes with me on Saturdays. Thank you for seeing that. So yeah, those are the things that I want. So and then I want to be around, because my wife is so much younger than me. I want to be around.
It's clear. Your points are there.
Right. I want to be around a long time, but not just around and be a burden. I want to be around and be present and contribute to the well-being of my overall family till the day I'm gone. That's what I want. So those are all the things that I want.
Beautiful. Yeah. What would it require of you today, in terms of your nutrition, let's say, to do in order to be that full, able, energetic, present body? Are there major changes or are there minor changes that you need to make today?
With nutrition, I think there are major changes.
I don't know if you've done any like DEXA scans. You can know your visceral fat. You can know your cardiovascular. Like there's things you can do to assess.
You're right. You're right. And I probably don't do those things.
Not to put you on the spot.
No, I don't mind you putting me on the spot. I'm getting this talk, so this is actually really valuable to me. What are the things I can do? Look, I think it's all about the diet. And the thing is like with my lifestyle, we're busy. And I know everyone's busy, and maybe I don't think I'm special, but at the same time, it's like we're in restaurants all the time, meetings, flying here, flying there. Okay. And then the kids, right? Because the kids, like they still eat, like they'll order pizza and and then it's there. And then I'm looking, I can either have cottage cheese or a slice of pizza. And then it's...
Okay, the willpower question, which we can't rely on.
But you know what's interesting? Sorry, I apologize for interrupting, because I really want to hear what you have to say. But I remember I had a trainer. We were traveling. We were in Costa Rica for a few months, years ago. And I had a trainer there. And she said to me, like, I can see you're not eating correctly. What's the problem? And I said, I don't know. It's just it's really hard for me. She goes, you literally come to you're up every day at 5:30 in the morning going to the gym. So that same willpower that you used to do that, use that to shut your mouth when you shouldn't be eating the wrong things.
So yes, can I go against that for a second?
Please.
We all count on willpower, and I say this to women just as much. You want the willpower not to eat your kids' leftover. You want the willpower to eat the cottage cheese over the pizza. But what about building an environment that makes it easier? Maybe you guys should order pizza one night less a week. I know it sounds like silly, but for you, it's like this low-hanging fruit. I'm gonna be energized, and that's it. Supper's done. But really, you probably needed a good 30 grams of protein. You needed some fiber, and you needed a balanced plate. What can you do different when you go on a trip? Can you plan ahead? You have someone planning your day for you.
I do.
To make sure that you're fed 3 times that day, a balanced meal, which we all know what that looks like. If not, you ask a nutritionist to write you out a meal plan. Like, you have to build an environment that makes it easier. So it's going to have to be part of your plan. You plan so much in a day. You have someone planning your entire schedule, your meetups, why is nutrition not at the top of that planning?
You're absolutely right.
And whether it's like outsourcing it to like a factor meal, like these companies that literally sponsor you just to feed you 3 times a day.
You're not wrong. You know what? So I tried these. these. I'm really happy we're going down this path. I'm not saying that's the
solution. We have to find you the solution.
No, I know.
Within your busy lifestyle.
I tried these meal plans, and the thing is, it's like, after about a week, I feel like I'm eating cardboard.
Okay, no, so if it's not sustainable, I say forget about it. So okay, that's not the thing. Good. I never did a meal plan company. I just have very basics at home that I always stick to. There is always Greek yogurt, there's always egg white, and there are always hard-boiled eggs at home. Sounds simple, but that's like the simple, healthy person's food that's got to be on rotation. But maybe you don't know that yet. Maybe I got to talk to you off the board about like the 5 simple proteins that you need in your life. Maybe you need someone to make it for you. Maybe you need someone to meal plan for you, meal prep for you, like food prep. I'm not talking about full meals. I'm talking about the essentials so that you can eat something on the go. Is your issue more you're in restaurants? Because if it's a restaurant question, it's a whole other solution.
If you asked Ariel, my chief of staff, she says that I soothe myself with food. So, because she's with me all day, and she will tell you that when I'm getting stressed or there's a lot going on and this and that, I'm walking over to our fridge, which is right like where our desks are, and I'm looking for some snacks. But she's been really good about making sure like there's no crap in there.
That's nice, about not having it there. If I have Nutella pot in my house, it's gone by the end of the week. But I know that about myself, so I just don't bring it in the house.
You know what I think the biggest challenge for me is, and I don't know if this is, I think it's more of a psychological thing.
Go.
I'm like a very, I don't know how to say this. Like I'm a very traditional man. I go out, I get things. I try to achieve. Yeah. And I'm consuming content. I'm consuming my work. I'm consumed by it, and I consume it at the same time. Like It's just when
you need to simplify the nutrition.
I know, but the thing is that same appetite that I have to like
comes for food.
You know, it's with food as well.
You have to think ahead.
I know.
If you want to prioritize, if you want to be the man you described to me in 10, 15 years of your kids' weddings, bar mitzvahs, and all the things, and Valeria's 50th, if you want to be that guy dancing on the dance floor.
Bar mitzvahs aren't that far
I know,
away.
you got one coming up, literally, but you want to be the last one on the dance floor, not just because you're energized, but because if you think you're energized from the sleep you're getting, you'll be wowed by how proper nutrition energizes you.
You're right. No, you're right.
I mean it.
You know, you're talking about the fitness. No, you're just reminding me of stuff. We have this rabbi in Toronto, Rabbi Zaltzman.
Okay.
You probably don't know
Sounds
him.
familiar.
He's like the Toronto guy.
Okay.
He's like the Chabad Toronto guy.
Cool.
And he's an older guy. You know, he's at this point he's probably close to like 80 plus. But even 10 years ago when he was 70 plus, he would go to a wedding, and he's like he's a very fit guy, slim, right, very little body fat, and you know he's
that's why he's living longer than all of us.
He would come and he would be dressed in his suit, and you could see how fit and slim he is. And this guy, he would go out on the dance floor. He would take the groom. The groom would sit on his shoulders. And it would be like a portly guy. Wow. It would be like a 250-pound guy, and you got a 120 or 130-pound Rabbi Zaltzman, and you've got this guy.
With the stamina.
And Rabbi Zaltzman's on the dance floor dancing.
No way. Isn't that impressive though?
It's impressive.
Don't you look up to that?
It's yes. I want to be that guy, and you know I want to embarrass my children when
you're gonna do it. I'm gonna be nudging you on Instagram.
Good.
Show me your meal tip.
I hope you do. I hope you do. What's the most dangerous wellness myth you see online?
They're all terrible.
Give me one.
People saying that are stupid these days. Everything's ridiculous. Everything's like vibration pads are the most recent one. Like
I've seen this. It looks kind of ridiculous.
People want a quick fix. People want to feel like they're in control, and they feel like if I do this one thing, it's going to cure everything. Like, honey, if you haven't fixed the foundations that we just spoke about, nothing's going to work. So right now it's influencers, not physical trainers, or not people with proper degrees who should be talking about it, telling you that this one exercise is going to snatch your weight and your waist, and that's what like women are buying into. Like they're wowed by these programs or these claims, I would say, because a good hook will sell it to anybody. And if you have no ethics, you could say anything you want. It's just doing danger.
I need your opinion on one.
Yeah.
Okay, so recently I did this thing. It's like the most ridiculous thing. They put me in like this suit, this like skin tight suit. Yeah. And then they plugged me into like some machine.
Like electronic. And
then it electrocuted me. And so the woman who was training me, Ariel was there. We were doing this thing.
You're a test dummy. You're like
no. It's like a thing. So here in Miami, you got to understand.
Everyone's
in Miami,
testing anything and everything. I got you.
I walked out. It was so embarrassing. Ariel had just started working with me, and she's like brand new on the job. They put me in the change room, and they give me my outfit, and they just give me this little thing, and I'm just like, I'm a grown man. And this thing stretches, so I walk out in full stretch. It wasn't even spandex. It was like super thin. It was just like nothing.
Beautiful.
I was basically naked. And I walk in. Ariel is there. 3 other women are there. I'm like
ice.
I walk out, and then on top of that, they put on this other like equipment. It's still like skin tight, and then she has an iPad, and as she's training me, and she's saying, "Okay, do a squat, do this." She presses a button, and I get electrocuted. Have you heard of these electrocution suits?
No.
What is this called, Ariel? What is
EMS? Okay.
You know about this?
It's an muscular stimulation. I guess.
Okay, tell me about this.
I don't know, but I'm not the expert in it. I think for someone who is like a high-level athlete or high-level performer who want to maybe optimize their level of performance, maybe would benefit of such a thing.
No, but hold on a second. But let's strip it down to the basics.
Yeah.
Running an electric current through a human being
sounds like
is that a medical like did they pull you aside in medical school and say, hey, listen,
never,
if you run electricity through people,
they'll be like superheroes.
Yeah
never. But I also was barely taught anything about nutrition. On the flip side, very little coverage of the basics of health was covered in medical school. So no, we didn't go that far, but we also didn't touch the minimums. We didn't touch the basics. So
you know what? Next time you're in Miami, I want to invite you. We're gonna look up this woman who did the CMS stuff with us.
I'll come and
you and I can do it together.
I
want to hear from you afterwards.
Sure.
Because they electrocuted me. Yeah. And I would love for them to electrocute you. I'll be there. We'll get electrocuted. You got it. It's on me. We'll get electrocuted together. I want to sit down and talk with you about the electrocution.
God. Okay.
Let's see how it.
Let's see how we come out.
How it pans out.
We'll come out radioactive. That's cool.
I want to kind of switch gears a little bit, and I want to talk to you about content creation. So you've amassed, I think, on Instagram alone over 80,000 followers. Yeah. Talk to me about kind of this journey. First of all, when did you start doing this?
I started content creation on a very no pressure, once a week, whenever I felt like it.
Sure.
I want to say 2018.
Okay,
I
okay.
started.
Yeah.
I took it seriously about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I got intentional and smart about it about the time I joined Creator Method.
Sure.
So I would say this past May.
Okay,
So nothing
great.
is an overnight success. I've definitely learned around like over time, but now I understand it. I didn't
Right.
understand it. I was just
Right.
sharing for the love of it, for the sharing knowledge. Why not?
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
To many people. But now I'm like, okay, especially since I'm building a business, I need to reach people with intention.
Does it make you nervous because being like a physician
Yeah.
and putting content out, there's a certain liability that you have
Yes.
as a physician. So how do you reconcile that?
I used to worry about it a lot more. I used to be like, how are people seeing this? Is this appropriate? Is it inappropriate? Am I doing
Yeah.
something dangerous? I ask it's kind of my litmus test is this dangerous to anybody? Can this cause like offense to anybody? And if not, and if it's only providing, to their well-being, then it could go out. If it makes me look like a clown, I don't mind. If it makes me look unprofessional, most of the time I don't mind. If it's inappropriate, it's not going up, right? So there's those kind of boundaries which most content creators have no limits on. I have to filter that, but I've been doing it for so long that by now people know who I am, and that's not going to change, whether in office or out. And if I do no harm, then it's going out there.
Did colleagues judge you?
Not yet. No.
I'm opening my phone. I'm opening my phone to look at your
the
social
college,
media.
not yet. I don't know if they found me yet, but once they do,
You
they'll be
don't
like,
think your colleagues see what you're doing?
oh, colleagues. I heard the college.
No,
Sorry.
your
Yeah, my
colleagues.
colleagues, of course. I mean, many. I have quite a few very supportive ones. I have new ones that are like, I wish I started this as early as you did. Like, you're now leading the way for the rest of us, which has been really cool.
That's
and
what they're saying
inspiring.
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even like supervisors of mine, like people who train me. And then there's plenty other who I just don't talk to, who I know
Sure.
don't approve of it. But again,
Tell me about the first piece of content that gained traction where you were like, wow, this is something. Like, I've got something here.
so my first viral moment, which was in May, which is a simple recipe.
Was that the one you and I talked about?
Yeah. That
Okay,
was
wow.
where things were like, wow. Everything else was like normal, reaching a lot of shares, a lot of whatever.
Right.
But this was like, I wanted over 10,000 followers
Wow.
from this one post.
Wow.
So I would say that was my wow moment. Like, oh, okay, the potential here is huge if you use it
And that was in
correctly.
the millions of views.
Millions. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember you and I did an exercise, and I believe we used ChatGPT at the time.
Yeah.
That was the early days of me prompting. That's when I did that.
Early, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, fairly early. I feel
You must be so good at it.
I feel I'm better at it now.
Yeah.
I've done it a lot more times. I've had a lot more reps. But I remember even then, like, the concept that we had with like, it was like the text on screen
Mm-hmm.
with the video in the background, getting really intentional in the comment. And then I remember talking with you about it, and I remember like getting the results. It's not only me that's gotten better. I also, quite frankly, just pay for the more like super expensive ChatGPT now.
Smart.
So instead of the 20, it's like,
Which one?
it's like $200 a month, but it's just got a lot more memory. So now it's
I think
become.
I need that because mine's getting slow. Like,
Yeah,
I have
well-
a chatbot. It's like, yo, I'm tired.
Well, it's not even.
slowing down.
It's not even the speed of the response. It's now pretty much become me. Like, it knows my thesis. Like,
Wow.
I'll say, based on my thesis about, let's say, Instagram bio optimization, how, like, which is this and this. It's
Sweet.
like, I already know what you're like. I already know based on your bio.
Wow.
Like,
That's
and
powerful.
so I recommend doing that, because then it becomes like your own like agent. Like, it's actually
Yeah.
it's you. Like, over
Okay.
time, right? Over time, it's
Yes,
learning.
yes. The more you
So
feed it.
now I think my bio optimizations are a lot, in general, the optimizations that I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember on that piece of content, we had come up with like a list of like other words,
Other
like,
iterations of
iterations and
posts that could
topics.
work, yes.
How did that work? I think it worked for a while, and now it's kind of
it
dropped
worked,
off.
But it's not that I haven't. There were so many that, kind of to your point, were not ethical for a doctor. Like, it was claims that are like big and grandiose that I couldn't make. A lot of them, whether it was about postpartum health or pelvic floor, I don't remember what it was, but they were like too extreme. So I always kept it on the more safer side, which
Yeah.
was mostly around weight loss and postpartum. Like, I'm a doctor. The hooks that work the most, I'll
Yeah.
just say it, shows me as the expert. So I'm a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Most often when they have that, I've achieved X, which is either closing my diastasis, my ab separation, losing 30 pounds, whatever the claim is, whatever the outcome is. Basically, let me show you how to do that.
Right.
So different iterations of that around pelvic floor health, pregnancy, postpartum, or weight loss are what works. And I don't abuse of it because I could just post that constantly and probably grow much faster. But my question is, like, how do I approach it now to
Well,
use it organically and still be ethical? And
Yeah, there's a balance, right? There's a balance that you need
Yeah.
to strike. Like, as a quite frankly, a very high level knowledge based creator, as opposed to like a traditional influencer.
Yes.
The value that you're building isn't necessarily in the size of your community, although by size I mean followers and average views per videos and like reach within in the past 30 days. Yes, that's all very important. Scale is definitely important, but the qualitative aspect of what you're building, I think, is just a far more kind of
measure.
It's just it's a far more meaningful asset, right? Having that asset and what that does is like when people go to your body of work, regardless of your follower count, regardless of your average views per video, I mean, it's still always like it's still always useful and it's essential, especially in your field and especially in the way that you monetize, because you're really monetizing through people trusting you. So
Correct.
it's the trust component. So
You're
whether,
right.
quite frankly, whether a video gets 5,000 views or 10,000 views or 100,000 views,
Yeah.
even at its like minimum of like 2, 3, 4,
Yes,
5,000.
yes.
5,000 people are now seeing they're seeing and hearing your message in the correct context at the time when they're likely looking to acquire that information. Meaning
Right.
if it's in the For You page, if they don't follow you yet,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're saying or doing in that video, it's been served to them because the algorithm has connected what you're giving them, like what you're putting out, to what they need in that moment based on their scrolling or based on the way that they're using the app, right? And so it gets crucial, and that's why I don't think you should get hung up on
Yeah, you make a great point. Yeah.
on views. Like, and
It's
I
the
think
trust that I've developed that's why the power of my numbers was even powerful at 30,000, like it is at 80. But I don't think
Absolutely.
the power is in my numbers. It's
Absolutely.
in how engaged and how trusty my audience is.
absolutely, one of the things that I often talk about is that the experiences and the opportunities that have been opened up to myself and Valeria in regards to like as a result of doing content creation is just, it's really profound, because these are things like you can't even buy the type of experiences that we get. And I'm not saying
real.
it to boast. It's just like,
No, it's a fact.
I'm blown away. Like I'm just a guy from
Matter
the
of
suburbs
fact.
of Toronto, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
you
it's
would have
not,
never thought.
I'm
It's
not like
beautiful.
some hotshot from Hollywood, or I don't come from a wealthy family. So the fact that Valeria and I are getting access to this, do you feel that as well? Like through your social media, the opportunities that you're uncovering?
Being here is one of them. I feel privileged. I feel honored.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
It's
Thank you.
true. It's not a nothing. I said it, I was talking to my husband earlier. Just in general, when I talk about these opportunities, I said, 5 years ago, if I would have seen this opportunity, how would I have seen it? Like,
Right.
oh, for sure, you're invited to. No, it would have been like, okay, wait, you're with this renowned couple with all this experience and all this
Thank you.
behind them. You get an opportunity to interview them. You get to go to Miami to do it. But what a privilege, what a honor. And I would have, I'm not saying the threshold is, like you almost get used to it, but still not. Like I know that my perspective would have been much more, not immature, but inexperienced 5 years
Right.
ago, whereas now I was ready for this beautiful, awesome opportunity. So I'm sure more will come my way. I think
Absolutely.
just the fact that I've been able to seize my, see my audience and say, now I'm ready to deliver them this platform that I've built, my app that I just built.
I want to talk about
That's
your app.
huge. Like that wouldn't have been possible had I not grown this audience.
Absolutely. I wanna suggest a change
Go.
in your terminology.
Okay, go.
No, in your terminology, in your vernacular. Is vernacular the correct word?
word?
I want to make a change. You said the word audience.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to change it to community.
Okay. Yes.
It's
yes.
no- it's
I
a really
do
big
describe them
difference.
as my community,
No,
actually, like
well,
online. But I guess here I'm talking about.
But I understand why you said
yeah,
it.
but they are my community,
They are
you're
your
right.
community, and that
And
that
I
is
engage with them. I answer
yeah.
every DM. I
So
email
essential.
them. Like it's a real community.
so essential, and that's really what you're building. And as you scale that,
Yes.
like again, I want to bring you back to the fact, like, don't be fussed about the rate of scale.
You're
Be
right.
more concerned about that qualitative relationship, like that
Correct.
deep relationship with each individual.
Nurturing the actual
Absolutely.
people that are
like,
in my
I
life.
respond to every DM. I try my best. I respond to every comment. I try my best.
Same, yeah.
And it's super essential. Tell me about your app, the Mindful Movement app.
Yeah, so the mindful movement, which was what I called any program that I sold till now. I had PDFs that I was selling workout programs for different things for the past 2-ish years on and off. And it's been such a learning curve, like understanding just business and sales and things that I knew nothing about from medical school. So now I said, I'm going to make a membership. I'm going to make a platform where women come to get strong, lose fat if they have any to lose, learn simple nutrition, and I integrated a community aspect. So there's like a chat group in it. So it's not just like any fitness platform. I call it a women's wellness platform because it really is for
love
that.
it.
And it spans from pregnancy, because I have pregnancy programs, postpartum, because I have that. And they're all things that tried and true. I created them while I was pregnant, while I was postpartum, used them myself, had hundreds of other women use them and give me incredible feedback from them. And follow along workout videos, like full length, under 30 minutes. So my thing is always you can get fit from home in under 30 minutes with only using dumbbells, because that's what I've done and that's what I continue to do, because in this season of life, that's all I have time for. So it's all there, the group chat, and then there's going to be my plans. I haven't even shared it online because it's kind of like the bonus when it's like creator method. You guys keep bringing in things that maybe weren't there when you initially started.
Of course.
But my big picture, which is what's going to really make this stand apart, is to have other specialists, whether it's doctors, dietitians in their fields, come and do a masterclass, a training for my community.
Beautiful.
And I think that's no fitness influencer is going to be able to have that kind of access to knowledge for the community. And I want to give them the best of the best, right? I only know so much. There are specialists in menopause. There are specialists in PCOS, nutrition, you know, all these niches that I know about, that I know women struggle with, and that I can get access to thanks to my contacts, right? Sleep health. I have one of the doctors who I talk to regularly, who's also into content creation, has her own private practice, actually. She's an expert in sleep and weight loss, obesity medicine. She did her board. Anyway, so I'm going to have her as one of the first speakers talking about the importance of sleep health and weight control.
That's incredible. And so it's a subscription-based app, I assume.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Launching Sunday.
Launching Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you good for you. Good
Thanks.
for you. And let me know. I want to support you on that.
Thank
so please
you.
send me a DM. I'm actually going to put it out on my stories.
Thank
I
you.
want to
Appreciate
support.
it.
Of course, it's my pleasure. And I want to put it out to the Creator Method community, if you don't mind.
Sure,
I
I'll
wanna,
link it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can put it
can.
you can put it in Slack.
Yeah, okay.
To let everyone know,
Thank
and then I want to actually, Ariel, if we can let the team know, I want to make sure that we send it out internally in an email to everyone so they
you.
get it on the WhatsApp.
Thanks.
And I want to know.
Appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure. And in general, like when our members are launching things, I actually want to support them, because that is like the 400 members that we have now and growing. Like that is such an engaged community, because like we're all in it together and
Supporting each other. And I see it every day. Like
and you
the
meet
people who we support within, even online, whether in
see it
Slack
online.
or on Instagram, are all Creator Method members.
amazing. No, I'm really happy to hear that. No, I'm really happy for you.
Thanks.
That's wonderful. Hold on. There was the next thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to discuss kind of from a business perspective. Before we get into like kind of where you're at on on social media, I want to tell you something. I believe that in sitting and talking with you in this kind of forum, like in a long form conversation, this is the first time I've ever had a conversation this long with you. I strongly urge you to, I think there's a part of your talent that you're not utilizing right now. You need to do long form conversations.
Got you.
You really do. I'm sorry to put more on your plate.
For now, I'm counting on being interviewed on podcasts, but to build my own is like such a leap. But yes.
But it's not. I want to quantify this for you, because if I only have seen you in short form.
Yeah.
Do you have any long form content out there?
So I started with YouTube.
Yeah.
But I was not great. I was editing myself long and hefty
Right.
videos that I have a few that took off. One about like rashes, one about newborn something, how to section their nose. It's a how-to video. So it was really, and then I just I couldn't maintain that. And I was working at the same time. So, I couldn't maintain it. So I do have some. I stopped sharing even my short form in YouTube, which I can and should optimize, but I don't have any other long form except for a few interviews that I've done.
I want to talk about that right now, because I feel you're missing a big opportunity. Honestly, if you didn't have the talent for it, because I see it, like you're welcome. You're very engaging in long form conversation.
Appreciate
it. Of course. And really the only question is, are you able to do this solo? Are you able to do this? Like right now you have me, and so you and I are talking, and it's the natural course of like human communication in person, but it's different where you're looking at a lens and you're trying to have that same conversation. So it's different. That being said, if you have a friend or a colleague, you can potentially duplicate something like this, where you're having it in a conversational way, where somebody's almost like moderating the conversation, where they have a list of questions and then you go in and you're very articulate. Like if you're very articulate in the way you deliver it, I'm really impressed with.
Happy.
No, of course. And I mean it. I'm not just.
My only practice is yapping at home to my 3, 5, 4, and 6-year-old.
I understand.
I talk a lot, but thank you.
No.
But the practice of even making short form, because I edit my stuff, right? Sometimes it's long and then I have to make it under 3 minutes, right? Which is a challenge in and of itself. So I have a lot of practice just talking.
Right.
And it's just a matter of fact. But thank you if you think it'd be.
No, I do think so. So there's a couple of things that I want to mention to you. So here's what I think that you should be doing. So first of all, I want to tell you why. The thing is that with short form content on Instagram, it's somewhat fleeting. So it's more like it's every time it's like the equivalent of a media hit, meaning you put out a piece of content, it ranges in terms of the number of views that it gets.
Yep.
Sometimes it gets higher, sometimes it gets lower. Cool. But then it eventually goes away. Right? It's not really searchable. There's no really like search engine optimization behind it. However, when you sit down and you make a piece, whether it's anywhere from 5 minutes, 10, 15, 20, half an hour, it lives forever and it's discoverable in search. So when people go to YouTube or people go to Google and they're searching for the subject matter, it has the potential of gaining traction over time. Yes. So it's more of a permanent asset than like a fleeting kind of media hit in any given moment. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it serves multiple purposes, actually. So if you sit down for 20 to 30 minutes on a planned discussion, engaging with the camera, or again, like engaging with a person and having like a camera angled to the side or whatever it may be. That cinematography is fairly easy to do. It's much easier to do now than it was 5 years ago. And you would literally would use a place like this. Like I wouldn't even tell you to do it at home. It's a minimal investment. There's places I know in Montreal. There's probably like 10 of them within, within a 20-minute drive of your home. And you literally like you walk in, before you go, you send them your scripting. They already have it on a teleprompter. Not that you're reading the whole thing, but you can have your bullet points up. You sit down. You're gonna be bad at it at first, but then you continue to progress and you get better at it. And now what happens is you have let's say a 30-minute segment, and then afterwards you then leave that place. And they have the footage. That same place will actually edit it for you as well. And I think this is brilliant. Like what this place does where we're in right now, it's called Content HQ. I sat down, and before I would be setting up cameras and I'd be figuring out lighting on my own, which would distract me from when I sat down. Now you saw I came in, I sat down, and you and I are talking. Easy. Yeah. It's so easy. And then once I leave, they're going to go ahead. They're going to edit the long form of this conversation. They're going to send it to our team. In your case, it would be they'd send it to you directly, and then I just post it to YouTube. And I think we have somebody else making our thumbnails, but there's places that'll do that as well. So here's what I want to say to you. I want you to. I'd love for you to go in once a week, do a 30-minute session once a week, so it doesn't take up a lot of your time.
Right. There's still preparation. Like if I'm talking about like an expert level subject, let's say menopause, let's say hormone. I don't know, like fat loss in your 30s, I don't know, whatever it is, there's still preparation. There's still a little research. There's still scripting. Yeah. So yes, you're right.
However,
you show up and you film it. That's the easier part, but yes, okay.
However, the value already exists.
Correct.
You already have the experience and the information.
Yes.
So it's not like you have to go and research something new.
No, you're right.
And now with ChatGPT, you're likely underutilizing ChatGPT.
You're right.
So if you went into ChatGPT and you said something, again, it's hard for me to, I can pretend to be a lot of things.
Sure, here are the most evidence-based articles on this subject.
Yeah. But not even articles. The way that I do it, I literally just talk into the phone, and I would say something like, I want to, I am this years old. I'm 35 years old. I'm a woman. I'm a doctor. This is my specialty. Yeah. I would go into detail about what my credentials are and what I know, and say, I want to do an episode specifically on, I'm making this up, early menopause caused by diabetes. I don't know. What would cause early menopause? I've heard of early menopause.
Is it ovarian failure? Surgery,
whatever it is. Medicine, so let's say so and so reason for early menopause, and I want to discuss like these different things. You don't go into like the minutia detail.
You're right.
I want you to create bullet points for me that I can glance at, and that bullet point will trigger my natural monologue to discuss these things. And then once you do that, you give them the instruction to the studio that as you're talking, they're going to go like on screen. Let's say it's going to look like a presentation. So if you imagine the screen, you're there, and then it's going to be like point number one, and they're going to have like a little title. You're going to elaborate on it. Cool. Point number two, you're going to elaborate on it. It's easier than you think. With ChatGPT, the preparation is going to take you like very little time.
Fantastic.
Because you're able to talk about it naturally, and you'll get better at it over time. And I think you're already good at it. It's just a monologue with a lens versus a person that you'll, because as you're explaining things to me, I see that you're good at it. And so doing that, number one, you're going to have that permanent asset that you can upload once a week. The other great thing about it is that the link to your app will be in the description. You can do a call to action as to go check, go and download my app. Yeah. And then here's the other part of it. That same studio who will create that 30-minute asset for you.
Make some short form.
They'll make short form.
Yeah, smart.
They'll make short form, and they'll probably make anywhere from 3 to 6 short forms. Those short form you load up, and it's in studio. Like I look way better on camera here than I do whenever I'm somewhere else. I think you look great everywhere.
Right. No, but you're right.
But
no, I don't.
No, you do. So what I'm saying is that like you now have this 30-minute video, however long that you want to explain it. You now have, anywhere from 3 to 6 short form content that you can load up, and that you can get this. This is going to be interesting. That you can load up, and you can, it'll get organic social distribution.
Yes.
And you can put a comment there with a call to action to download your app, to go to link in bio. Once you do that, if one of those, you'll be putting out, let's say if you do this once a week, that's an additional 3 to 5 pieces of content. And you know what? Huge. Even if it's less, meaning if the time it takes you to prep and go to studio, you'll create 5 or 6 less short form of what you're doing now.
Yes.
That's okay. So you're not going to, I'm not asking you to do
that and what I'm doing now.
Right. I'm not saying to put more time in. I'm saying strategically, if you were like, let's say you're going to decrease the amount of output you have now by, let's say 5 reels per week, take that time that you would have spent, that couple of hours, and do this instead. Because now you're inserting, like, in your content mix, a very professional looking version of you in studio, talking about, I think things like right now, you're really connecting on the human level because of the casual nature of your content.
Yeah, so informal.
Once you start putting in the more formal pieces, I don't want you to go all formal.
No,
I'm just saying
that.
make it a part of your mix. It'll increase your credibility because they'll see that mix.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen is when you're talking in those videos, the videos that actually perform well, like when you see a spike in performance on those videos, what's going to end up happening is that those will prove themselves out on organic social. So let's say you create let's say 6 in a week, and out of those 6, they're consistently getting between 3,000 and 5,000 views as an example, but one of them got 80,000 views or 100,000 views. Then you boost it. You boost it to your exact target demographic, because in-app boosting, you're able to target by
specify your audience.
By gender, and by age, and by location. You can go you can go by zip code in the United States, and furthermore, if you know kind of once you have a few, I'm geeking out.
No, I like
it's okay.
it. Mentorship.
Once you get into once you have a certain amount of subscribers in your app based on your current organic social audience, you're going to get a sense of kind of what their socioeconomic kind of demographic is, their profile, right? So now once you know that, who organically is coming in and who's using your app, then when you do that boost based on that piece, like that 1 out of 6 that did really well, once you do that boost, then you just base it on that demographic. Furthermore, if you get an idea of, let's say, those are people like households who make between $100,000 to $200,000 a year, or $200,000 to $400,000 a year, you can literally go to ChatGPT and say, I need households that make $200,000 to $400,000 a year. What are those zip codes in the United States?
Oh, wow.
What are those postal codes? What are those postal codes in Canada? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Very strategic, yeah.
It's very strategic. And I think that what you may want to do in the beginning to get some initial traction is actually do that. And these ads, I'm not talking about tens of thousands of dollars. We're talking about a couple of $100 per ad, right?
Low,
right. And even what I'm suggesting for you to do in the studio, it's also not a lot.
I don't know what the cost. I have no idea, but I'll find out.
It's not a lot. It's not restrictive.
Amazing.
The money you'll save from creating that organic, you might pay a little bit extra, but it'll be well worth it.
That new client week, so.
And so what I was going to say is, if you want to focus on local first, you can't target when you're putting up content now. It's organic distribution, you can't target.
It's mostly non-followers actually from I don't know where.
Right. But my point is, you're going to start getting subscribers, pay subscribers to your app from all over the place.
Correct.
Because there's no targeting, right?
Yes.
The algorithm sends it where it's going to send it. But once that non-targeted traffic, once you see how many views a single piece of content gets, especially where you're in studio like this, and you can incorporate a call to action at the end with an end screen saying click link in bio to subscribe or something along those lines, and you'll have it in the comment. Once you amplify the winner with a couple of $100, and if you want to do it in Montreal in those socioeconomic postal codes that make sense for you, I think that might be a low hanging fruit for you, because you're physically located there. When it comes to building community on the paid side, from your paid subscribers, when you want to do meetups, I think it's actually pretty cool if they're localized. Well, you have the opportunity to deepen that
connection,
to deepen the touch and the connection with them by doing meetups and having them come in. And then do you mind that I'm taking this?
No, I love it. I'm listening.
And then when you do those meetups, because now you've been targeting locally, and because you have the ability now to do more meetups as you continue to grow your subscriber base, then when you have a meetup, you film that as well. And
and that itself is content.
And now you have video assets that are showing that, look at the IRL, in real life. Because when you're only doing it now in this kind of casual way that you're creating content, you're gonna grow. But when what I'm describing to you is creator method.
Yes.
Sorry. That's what I'm doing, right? So when you see
my own
content,
people, my own community.
right?
Yeah.
So when you see our content, you're compelled. I want to join this because then I get an opportunity 100%. To do this. So that's my take on that. And the other thing I'll tell you about doing this is that you'll also have an audio file. Okay. So now you have a podcast on iTunes and Spotify.
Right.
And I mean, it's literally just
linking
taking the audio. Well, you upload it. Again, these are minimal costs for the amount of production. So I think for you as a knowledge-based creator, who also you definitely bleed into it as being an aesthetic creator because you're fit, because you show your fitness routines. I think what I just described is a good way for you to do things.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope that helps. Huge. So what's next? So right now you're super excited.
Yeah.
To launch this. What is kind of your what is your vision for this? So as you scale this, you're scaling your monetization. You're gonna continue. Where do you see this whole thing like playing out in 3 years?
You know what? I was interviewed on a podcast actually this past summer, and I was in the whole messy middle of like, am I going to private? Are they gonna accept me? I got a refusal. It was like, And when she's like, what are you doing next? Your audience grew so much. What's up? And I was like, I'm thinking of a subscription-based platform, but I don't know yet. I didn't sign yet with a company, software. I didn't build anything. I didn't have it. And so much change in that little time, right? But I was kind of like, we'll see. Now I'm here. I've created this. So you asked me what's the next thing. I'm kind of like, I'm open to whatever opportunities come my way. Mm-hmm. I will tell you from a content creation side, one thing that I've not worked on much or focused on and that I'd like to, especially in this upcoming year, are brand sponsorships. Mm-hmm. Like I've just not poured myself into that because I don't tag so many, because I don't think of it first.
So you're saying you don't want to do it?
I want to, but I've not.
But why do you want to do it?
Because it's another potential revenue income.
So I want to warn you. I want to warn you about that. And I actually had a similar conversation with Dr. Barry Fairchild.
Okay. Yes.
She's
plastic
one of our
surgeon.
members. She's a plastic surgeon. And she told me the same thing, because actually she started with us. She had 15,000 followers. And then she's now, I think, at close to 200,000, which is really exciting. And it's increased her practice and everything. And she said, I'm starting to get calls for this. And I warned her, and I just want to give you the same kind of, polite warning, that as a medical doctor, you have to be careful, because it's one thing. Look, if a fashion brand approaches you, there's no issue. However, if anything that's ingestible, that's making any kind of health claims,
any supplements, I say no.
Well, you're risking your license.
Correct. I cannot stand for something that is not necessarily evidence based, so I don't work with many things. I've had many supplement companies reach out to me.
Like a protein, like protein, you won't do.
I don't see protein powder being unethical,
right?
Because I see it as food and bev, but it depends. What claim am I making? Who am I making it for? So that's a good question mark. But other than that, like fitness is fine.
Yeah,
fitness clothing is fine. So, I try to stay in not my lane, in my safe zone. But again, that's not usually who attracts to doctors. But again, I present myself as a doctor in the health and wellness space. So
absolutely. So do you have people reaching out to you now for brand partnerships?
I do. Like I had a couple in Q4, like a walking pad company, a weighted vest, which were things I was already using. It made sense, and that's not dangerous to anybody, right? So I said, my litmus test of like, is this causing damage and is this unethical? No. Does this hurt anybody? No. So I went ahead and I had someone with like a snack company with like healthy peanuts, reach out to me this week, and I was like, is this causing harm? No. Like, this is fun. And
it would only cause harm if you gave it to my 11-year-old.
Okay, so he's got peanut allergy. See, no, but I'm saying if it incorporates with my lifestyle and having kids and snacks, I can easily blend that. So. Yeah, some are reaching out, but I mean, I definitely don't do the job of like you say, tagging and reaching out to ideal brands, but that's its own thing. So yeah, I just got to work on that this year.
So literally in the content that you're doing now, every time you show up, are you tagging everything you're wearing?
Like since I'm in Miami. I'm kidding.
No, but what's wrong? But what's wrong with like your yoga pants or?
No, there's nothing wrong. I almost always like Lululemon, Aloe, whatever I wear, Aerie, but I don't get contact from them.
So I have a little win. I haven't shared it with the community yet. I don't know if I will. So I ride motorcycles, and if you didn't know, I ride motorcycles. And there's this one particular company that makes gloves that I really like, and I've already bought. I have 2 pairs of motorcycle gloves and a pair of driving gloves. Cool. Which are weird. I don't know. I thought I would wear them, but I feel silly driving around in Miami with a pair of suede gloves.
Protect your skin.
In the heat.
Consider it's like
it's actually supposed to I think protect the car from the oil in your hands.
Okay.
I believe. I'm not even sure.
Probably.
It kind of looks cool, but I think it looks cooler like in places that have winter and autumn.
A photo.
Not so much here. But in any case, so I tagged them. I was on my motorcycle and I did like just a little shot of my hand with with it, and I said like today's color palette, because these ones I have, they're like a yellowish beige. They're cool. Like I think they're cool. Valeria thinks they look ridiculous, and so I tagged them, and the guy literally messaged me, and he's like, "Can we talk? Can we get on a call?" Like the owner of the company, and they're like, they're a well-established brand, and so we'll see what they have to say.
That's amazing,
right? And to me, like, I don't know if it's like a brand partnership or whatever it is, or it's product, but just the fact that this company that I truly like, I'm a fan of their product. Like awesome. I'm a legitimate fan of their product.
More organic than that,
and it's amazing. And so that would make me really happy. But my point is that if you want that kind of work and if you want that revenue stream, then it really is a matter of 2 things. It's creating content that they can understand how they can insert themselves into. It has to be contextual to them, or to a certain like industry. Mm-hmm. And so with Valeria, the fact that she's always tagging the clothing
fashion makes sense.
And she tags it organically. And I want to mention something else. So I just want to kind of abolish any kind of myths. And Valeria was, thought this, and I've had several people in Creator Method tell me, it's like, I don't want to tag them and give them free advertising. And my response is always like, first of all, relax.
Yeah, not that important.
You know what I mean? Like even at scale, like relax. Like there's a lot of content creators tagging brands.
Correct.
You're not changing
Selling
the face of their
yourself short.
business by tagging them. So let's first of all relax. Second of all, you have to take into consideration that when you're tagging a brand, it's not about giving them a free value. It's about giving value
showing them
to your members or to your audience, to your community.
Right.
Because now you're a discovery tool.
Yes.
It's like, where did you get that?
Yes.
So now
which I get asked,
right?
right? Like I also get those questions. So.
But now there's another reason for people to follow you.
Yes.
Because now you're tagging all the products.
True.
And then the other big thing is that every time you tag a product, it's way better than sending them an email saying, hey, I'd love to work with you. So rather than wasting your time reaching out to brands, and going outbound, which a lot of creators I think do too early. For you, it would be too early for you to waste your time doing that, to spend even an hour a week doing it. No. You're better off in the content you're already posting, tag everything. But I would even tag, you're going to just feel self-conscious about it. But when let's say you do this podcast, whatever you're wearing that can be seen, your shirt, your earrings, whatever you used in your hair that day, even your makeup by.
Yeah, you're right.
If you ever watched like talk shows back in the day, at the end of the talk show, if it was like Jay Leno, it's like Jay Leno's outfit by so-and-so.
No
I don't know if you ever
I
noticed
remember that. But I don't watch much TV, but no.
Well, fair.
Yeah.
So that's how I think, that's how I know you're going to get more brand partnerships.
Smart. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me? I want to be able to provide you with as much value as I can.
I mean, listen, I'm learning as I go. As there's anything that you see when you, I know you don't consume content. You definitely don't consume my content.
Well, I wouldn't say that's true. I do follow you, and I do.
No, but you still doesn't mean you follow. I'm just saying, if there's anything that were to stand out as good or bad, or that vibes well, or that I should double down on, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So here are my thoughts. Lately, your average views per video have gone down a little bit, right? So the first thing,
focus has been on this app.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And so I don't want you to get worried about that. I'm actually happy that you said because my focus is this app, because you understand that it's not.
Oh, it's not a thing on me. I know the stuff that performs really well, and I haven't been making focus on that because time.
And that's all. And that's all it is. So I would just get back to that. But look, I think when I see your content, I'm just pulling it up right now. I think you're showing up.
Food
I see it. What's that?
Food performs the best.
The food performs the best. But here's where I think you're selling yourself short. I love it.
So funny hearing this.
Yeah. So here's what I think. I think that you're not talking enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
there are some talking heads, but okay.
There are some talking heads, but it's not enough. And I go back to to complimenting you on your ability to have a dialogue, especially in your field. You got me excited. I'm already thinking about how I'm going to go home and how I'm going to how I'm going to change my nutrition and do all of these things.
Veggies first, protein forward. If you want a very simple advice that I give everyone, veggies first, protein forward. And you're like, what do you mean? Whatever veggie, you find a cucumber, you find a pickle, you find a carrot, eat that first, fiber first. It fuels you better. It balances your blood sugar, so it doesn't spike as much if you start with a carb or a rice or a potato, and then your energy goes down. Right. You start with a fiber. I'm just giving you this now.
Please,
do that when
you
go home. Yeah. You're like, where's the veggie on my plate or salad, whatever. Veggies first, protein forward. That doesn't mean.
What does forward mean? After
make sure there's protein in your meal.
Right, so, but at the end.
Anywhere. But when you say veggies first, you don't forget to eat the veggies.
Right.
When you say protein in your meal, you make sure that there's a protein in your meal. And it sounds obsessive and almost annoying at the beginning, like any good change. But when it becomes a habit because you do it so consistently, it'll be simple. Rosie said veggies first and then protein forward, meaning a protein forward meal. There's protein in there. It's just my lingo to make it stick to people. Because if you start again with your soft drink or your potato or the carb, the chances that you're going to get enough fiber by the end of that meal or that day are much lower.
Yeah.
Why does fiber matter? For a million things, but it's much more nutrient rich than the carb that you're still going to eat, but that you're going to eat less of.
Right.
So get the benefits. It reduces your cholesterol. It balances your blood sugar. It does all these things. Fiber it reduces your risk of colon cancer and many others. There's just benefits of fiber. And here's another fun fact. 90% of North Americans are deficient in fiber. We're not deficient in protein. We're deficient in fiber. If you're like, what's fiber? Fruits, veggies. This thing, fruits, veggies, grains, and beans. That's your fiber.
I always thought fruits and vegetables, excuse my ignorance. I thought it was like a carb. I thought it was like...
No. So a potato is a carb.
Right.
So yes, but there's still fiber in it.
Right.
Avocado has fiber. The best fiber, if you're like, hey, what do I just...
Tell me what the best...
Raspberries.
Really?
Berries.
I eat a lot of
antioxidants.
I eat a lot of blueberries.
I
like blueberries.
Excellent.
Okay.
So have your blueberries. Do you like Greek yogurt? I say
yeah,
like this.
yeah, I do.
Have your blueberries with Greek yogurt. If you feel like it's too plain, add a little maple syrup.
I add honey and I add a little bit of like some granola that's really delicious.
Some granolas people think are really healthy, but they're just like a lot of
They're just
sugar.
crap,
I don't know that that's what you're having. I'm just speaking out loud.
Yeah, it probably is.
So have your blueberries with your protein yogurt every morning. Make it boring, or 3 days out of 7, or 5 days, as much as you can until you're sick of it. And then you find your other protein forward breakfast. Own the first meal of the day, just like you own your day with your workout.
Yeah.
Same with your nutrition.
Right. And how would I go about contacting all of the restaurants for them to put a ban on me so I can't go in there?
You have to know how to look at a menu, and you have to know what to start with and what to end with. If you're always starting
the problem
with the bread
is when I arrive, once I'm in the restaurant,
don't show up hungry. Eat a veggie.
But then why go to a restaurant?
Don't show up starving. Sorry, not hungry. Don't show up starving, famished, because that's how people are like, oh, I built up my appetite, especially. I don't want to be rude. From your like.
You're not
generation. People are like, I'm going to save my calories for this big meal.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't work like that.
No, I don't think
He's not
that
waiting
way.
to be, okay, good.
Yeah.
So eat throughout your day, even if you eat an hour before. If you know you're going out for pasta, where's your protein in your day? Make sure your lunch has some kind of, satiating, adequate
And you
protein.
talk about all of this in your app, obviously.
Yeah.
And do you have a function in your app where you're like where you're sending out?
So you could track your own macros for your goals.
But do you have something where, let's say, at noon you send out a notification to all of the members saying, hey, make sure you're about to eat lunch, you better make sure
there
to
are
eat
reminders inside. I don't have that automated like a reminder to eat because not everyone wants that reminder, but you could set it up yourself. But there is a reminder like have your breakfast, have your lunch, have your supper. You can turn it off, you can keep it on. But some people need those reminders because we're so busy, right? All the excuses in the world, but we make time to brush our teeth and pick up our kids, so we should make time to feed ourselves.
So when you're asking me, so thank you for that. But again, I want to go back to the content creation. Look, I really believe in this whole 30-minute podcast. Yeah. It just, you're underrepresenting your credibility. You're super credible from your actual credentials on paper. That credibility really comes out in conversation. I keep going back to this because
great. If it comes out, then I'm very happy to hear
I really
that.
wanted to hit home for you. But you really need to do this. And then I believe that once you have this kind of professionally produced, look, I'm the first guy to tell you that professionally produced content is not
what resonates or performs.
It's right. However, doing what you're doing now, you've got the casual content, the imperfect content, you've got that down, and you're able to do it at scale. It's not about an algorithm thing. It's just
about differentiating myself.
It's perception, right? So when you mix in, if 10% of your reels or 20 or 30% of your reels are those in studio reels, the perception that people have of you is just at a higher level. Like if you were, quite frankly, if you were only let's say, and I don't want to talk about personal trainers.
Yes.
But if you were, I don't mean when I say only a personal, they
that
have
was my
real
only
skills.
credential.
Right. If that was your only credential and you did the casual stuff that you're doing now, I think work or not, it would be appropriate for I think that qualification level. I want to be really careful because I have a lot of respect for personal trainers.
100%.
That being said, because you are a medical doctor, I'm missing that proverbial lab coat appearance. You don't have to have.
I know. And my first videos when I was a resident, I was always wearing a lab coat, but I was wearing it with sports clothes underneath. So that's why doctors were turned off. They're like, how dare she wear this mini dress underneath a lab coat? And I was like, I'm getting rid of the lab coat. This is so not me. It's also not me to be like.
You don't have to. You don't actually have to wear a lab coat. But even if you're like this, the way you're dressed now,
I'm not here in a sports bra for sure.
Right, perfect.
Got you.
So it needs to be part of the mix, just for the qualitative aspect of your personal brand. So that's what I'd highly recommend. The last thing that I want to recommend, and I don't know, kind of where you're at in terms of how you look at the financial side of your business from an investment perspective. I have a feeling you're doing this alone.
All alone.
I get that sense. Yeah. I don't get it from your content. I feel like you have this very I'm super independent and I'll do it myself.
No, it's sometimes you don't know who and what to outsource to.
So I want to talk about that.
What's the first thing I should be?
I want to talk about that. Here's how I would do that assessment if I were you. Okay, I would take a look at what your time is being spent on. There are certain things that you cannot delegate to other people. Being in front of the camera, you cannot. Right, getting better at your craft, that learning process, and then communicating that and putting that, creating the actual content. Nobody else can do. You can't hire for that. However, there are other things that I'm sure if you did an assessment of your day and saw where you were putting your time, there are things that you should not be doing. And once you hire for those things that can be done by someone else, the key is, what are you going to be doing with your newfound time? And if you can create more and better content, and maybe it's a question of, maybe instead of, being once a week for 30 minutes in that session, maybe that session is like 2 times a week at 30 minutes. So you're kind of doubling that output. Because what happens is, if that output that you create actually moves the needle on both scale and reputation building and trust building, then
it's worth every minute.
Well, it's worth it because it'll come back. Really, from a financial, like from a P&L, a profit and loss perspective, when you're looking at your books, it's like, let's say you spend, I don't know, $5,000 on someone to help you, right? So now that person is helping you, and you are now, as a result, being able to create more and better content, right? And that's your net new expense. So you won't see that revenue come in month 1, maybe not in month 2 or month 3, but you do have to start seeing some kind of like a return on that. So as long as you can keep, and even if you're operating at a loss as a result, it's then a question of like, from a business perspective, how long are you okay
you endure that
with
loss?
this like monthly burn of a whatever? Like, it should be declining in theory, right? But it takes time. It's going to depend largely doing that kind of burn, or that like time until you kind of at least break even on that expense. That's going to be, a lot of it is going to be a factor of the skill level of the person that you hire. If it's a good hire, right? That's number 1, sourcing that person and vetting them. Number 2 is your ability to train them. And number 3, your ability to let go and delegate correctly. So you have to have a delegation skill. You have to have a training skill, and you have to have a skill of identifying the correct person. And I think those are that's crucial. And what I can tell you is that as long as you wait to hire that person, I'm not trying to push you before it's time. That's how you're going to get scale. Because then what happens is, and I've seen it happen with Valeria, like we're at about 30 people now.
Huge.
Over almost 10 years. But what I'm saying is that it gets to a point, like that first hire, once you are able to once you develop those 3 skills, like of what I just mentioned, like the delegation, the training, and what else did I say? And the identification of talent. Once you do that, you get that person in, all of a sudden your business goes to another level. And all of a sudden, whoa, like,
didn't expect that.
You maybe 3 months go by and you've surpassed the break-even point on that additional hire. And now you're like, okay, now how do I reinvest it? A lot of people, what I find is they don't treat this like a business. There are businesses, when they start out, they're losing money for an extended period of time, but they have a vision of how it's gonna how it's gonna become profitable. So you may want to, but people in this business don't do that.
And like my background is not at all business, right? It's medicine, so I didn't have the experience. Like what I'm learning with time and as I go, obviously, but this is valuable. When you say hire, is an example like the podcast suggestion that you made, like the filming and that? Is that an example or no?
Well, that's more like of a service.
Okay.
Like you would pay a flat fee for, let's say, an hour. That would include.
But the person who edits it or posts it or whatever.
In the studio that you get, it would probably be the same. Okay. You can find a studio in Montreal where it's the same.
Does all that?
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same. The same place. That's going to be an expense. So that's going to cost a certain amount per episode. And I don't know what it is in Montreal, but
I can find out.
You go and find out. Look at their portfolio. Make sure that you like the quality of their work. That's an additional expense. So that's kind of expense number 1. That's not an employee. That's But then I'm hoping it's an expense of the business. But what maybe again, I don't know your kind of your how you looking at the finances. But I would start with that. Because that's going to take away a lot of the editing for you. Because right now you're editing, let's say your reels. Well, now you're going to have like between 3 and 6 reels a week that you don't have to edit. They're just going to send you the finished product. Fantastic. So now you can upload that. You still have to make a caption, make it look good.
Still, but it's still less work than what you're used to doing it. So many.
I just believe like what happened. So I'll tell you like a quick story what happened with me and Valeria, because I think that this context is important. When we first started, $10,000 came in. That was the initial funding of this business, and we never had to put money in after that.
Wow.
Right. So, that's why what the advice I'm giving you is based on my own experience over the last almost 10 years. It's been 9 years of how we did this. So
what was your first hire?
So I'm happy you asked. That's what I was going to get into.
Go.
It was actually a videographer / editor. So when I asked Valeria, I said, tell me about your day. And she said, I spend an hour a day in front of the camera and 9 hours a day editing. And I go, how do you know how to edit? She goes, I looked it up on YouTube. Back then it was like a big deal. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I did too, for sure.
There you go. There you go. And at that point, I'm like, oh my God, she's such a savant. Like, this is crazy. How does she know how to do this? Well, you too. But my point is that what happened was, and I said, okay, well, we need to make more and better content. So instead of you spending an hour a day in front of the camera and 9 hours a day editing, why don't you spend like 5 hours in front of the camera, 3 hours of, like learning more about your subject matter, researching what type of content you want to make, right? And then don't work like 10 hours and spend the other like 3 extra hours resting, relaxing, and making sure that you're okay to continue, because it's like grueling, right? Creating content. Yeah. And so her response to me was like, well, how many months will we have an editor for with this $10,000? And at the time the rates were different than they are now. And I said it's 3 months.
Yep.
She goes, what if we don't make any additional deals in that 3 month period? And then at the end of the 3 months, we'll have lost the $10,000. What if we don't get that additional revenue? And my response to her was, what if we do?
I love that. Yeah.
And then on that, what if we do, we obviously got more business, because then she immediately increased her volume output and her volume quality. She was more at ease because she wasn't sitting and editing all day long.
Yes.
And then after that, then the next person we hired was an administrator to do like accounting, because it was me and I hated doing it.
Yeah.
And so we just needed someone to make the invoice, to make the the follow-up calls to the brand partners,
contracts,
the contracting and stuff. So then we got an administrator, and then after that, it was just it was constantly this analysis. Tell me about your day. Tell me what you're doing. Explain to me where your time is going. If she spent time doing something she shouldn't be doing, that's not moving the business forward, I would say, can we hire for that? If it's yes, we're hiring for that. And that's how we just systematically have been growing it. I'd like to see you, like, one thing I didn't ask you, and I think it's important before I'm giving you this advice, because this advice may not be the correct advice. It's like, what is your goal?
So one of the main reasons I was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to monetize this online space was to give myself the freedom that you get from having an online business, right? The space and time, the location freedom.
Absolutely.
Whereas when I have a clinic office setting, that doesn't exist. Whether I'm doing it in Miami or in Canada or wherever, you need to be in office. You need to do so many hours. And that no longer fit my life with 3 young kids that I need and want to be present for. So I guess my big reason was to build that freedom. So I guess obviously financially building up enough freedom so that I could do that long term, so that it potentially, covers for what I could be making as a doctor working in clinic. That's my big goal. My goal is not write a book, be on a podcast. It's not about fame or fortune. It's really about like having the quality of life that that gives me every opportunity, which like everything that I want, which I already have, but I mean to an extent where I have no question mark whether I should be doing the safer route of medicine or not. That's it.
I have my advice to you is not to necessarily aim for like the stars, right? It's know what you realistically want and add maybe 10%.
10%. Correct. That's why I'm not like,
it
doesn't mean the sky is the limit, but I mean.
But it's important to aim higher than your actual goal.
Yes.
Because chances are, if you fall a little bit beneath it, you're still going to be happy.
For sure.
If you exceed it, great. It's all it's all a bonus, right? So that would be my suggestion to you. But I think that if you want to kind of get the scale that we're talking about, I think I think the initial thing is to do this. If you agree to do this in studio thing with these monologues, again, it's just like it's the long form audio, a long form video on YouTube that lives forever. It's the audio on the podcast, and then it's the clips. So and then by the way, I also want to mention, just getting back to the tech, those clips are on Instagram. Also put them on TikTok.
Yes.
The syndication costs you nothing. Also put them on YouTube Shorts. And the key with YouTube Shorts is that with YouTube Shorts, you can actually reference the long form video that the clip was made from.
From the small.
And so when you start getting distribution, and it's easier to get distribution on the short form on YouTube, when that starts getting distribution, there's going to be a link pushing it to the long form. So now you're getting, you're promoting it within the platform. Yeah. So that's why there's just so much utility to that 30-minute segment that you do. So from a financial perspective, I recommend starting with that expense for now, if you're comfortable making it as an investment into your business before you have an employee. And if what I just described to you, like this whole process with the 30-minute monologue, assuming that works after 3-6 months, once you start monetizing more on the app,
Yeah.
And then that revenue starts coming in. And then again, creating content where you're tagging the brands, you're creating the contextual content where they can see that, they can advertise with you. Once you start doing that and revenue starts going up a bit, try to get to break even on the studio expense. We're talking like thousands of dollars a month, not tens of thousands.
Yeah.
So once you break even on that, and then or maybe even like you're now profitable every month, ask yourself, okay, where can I route that? And maybe at that point it's a person. So I think for you, it would be the studio expense. Wait till that's like break even and then profitable. And then it's like that first maybe generalist hire that could help you with
like a manager, like a social media manager, where you guys have.
Yeah.
I don't know her name, but she was always with Valeria, and it's so much easier because she already is doing the thought process.
Well, that's actually her
research and whatever.
Well, that's actually her assistant, Celine.
Oh, okay, Celine. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's her assistant. Our social media manager, Shelby.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Which is also like the creative, like
Absolutely.
does the research. It's a big job, that of like.
We just had a meeting today, Valeria, myself, and Shelby, and we were discussing like creative concepts based on, how like I did that thing with you, where like I looked with ChatGPT, that one particular piece of content to get the proof, I call it a proof point, and then to iterate based on kind of what happened there. So now what I'm doing, I don't know if I did this with you, is like last week Valeria had a video that had like 8.2 million views, which is uncommonly high for her.
Yeah.
Right? And so we took that.
What worked here?
I copied all the comments from the video. I explained the concept. I put on a screenshot, and I wanted to understand what are the emotional triggers. Why do you feel that this succeeded? And then ChatGPT told us, and then we told it what we think. And then once we had like a thesis as to why it did well, cool. I said, I want an additional 100 concepts. I want 100 concepts in general, which include hooks, right? That are based on the success of this video and specifically on the emotional triggers that worked, that got the engagement. And what's interesting is you always have to put in the engagement metrics, because when ChatGPT sees that there's a high level of shares, that it's like, okay, there's something about this that is making people share it.
Yeah.
And its ability to kind of really dive into the human condition and extrapolate. But if you have an emotional intelligence, and this especially works for you because you're talking about things that like are
important to people.
They're important to people, but these are emotional topics, right? And having that emotional intelligence, and you mentioned that you're an empath, right? So taking that empathy and putting it into the prompts as to your speculation as to why this did well, in addition to the comments, which you're actually getting feedback on the qualitative aspect of when they consume the content of what went through their minds, taking all that and putting that into the prompt and saying, give me 20, 30, 50 more concepts.
Iterations. Okay.
That's going to be really powerful for you.
Great.
As well as all the other stuff I mentioned.
Yeah,
there's a lot. There's a lot.
I love it. My husband's taking notes.
Well, he doesn't need to, because he'll be able
to watch it.
He'll be able to watch it all. Rosie, thank you. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And coming to Miami.
I came all the way here.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll see you at the next event. I just wanted to mention to you on the Creator Method side, we are going really, really hard now on events. So as much as we are, a curriculum and a community, both, virtually, you're going to start seeing a lot more events.
Okay,
we're really investing in that.
Cool. I've connected with, I know your audience, your community is not so much in Montreal, but I've connected with the ones who are from Montreal. At least I'm making an effort to meet them in real life. So I'm excited to meet all the other ones. I've made such amazing connections with the other members. You guys obviously you also attract who you are. The energy you give out is kind of what you guys get back. So that's visible in the people that I've met, and I'm excited to meet more.
Thank you. Well, congratulations on the launch of your app.
Thank you.
We're
so
going
much.
to promote it to the community and beyond.
Excited
and
to share.
I wish you all the best. Thank you, Rosie.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.